Welcome into the Capital PTBO Sports Show, an MNC podcast production. You can visit us anytime at the Capital PTBO at 370 George Street North or online at thecapitalptbo.ca. Coming up on the show today, who should the Leafs trade? What is happening in the NBA playoffs? And the NFL has released its list of international games, including a few in Germany. Joining the conversation now, as always, Mark Million up in the penalty box, the one and only Matt Latour. What's going on, gentlemen? How are we?
It's beautiful out. This is the time of year, right?
It's gorgeous.
This is the best time of year.
We had a hint of this at the start of April.
Too soon.
Yeah.
Too soon and too hot. Like 30, 31 in April? Nah.
Well, I remember that was when the Pete's were playing Ottawa, so I went to the game in Ottawa and had to park 2 kilometers away from the parking garage. And a 2-kilometer walk for a guy my size in 30-degree weather.
No good.
Wearing jeans? Not fun.
It's tough. We've got a lot of hockey talk coming up, as you can imagine. Before that, though, a reminder that what we do is not possible with the help of our good friend, Brian Goldfinger of Goldfinger Personal Injury Law. Brian dedicates his practice exclusively on behalf of accident victims, disability claimants, and their families. He's a plaintiff personal injury lawyer through and through and does not accept work on behalf of insurance companies. Give Brian a call if you get hurt. Goldfinger Personal Injury Law, 877-730-1777. That number again, 877-730-1777. I always feel like I add in an extra 7. There's only 3 7s at the end.
Just like at the casino.
Yeah.
You want 3 7s.
I saw Brian was doing a stint on a radio station. I'm not sure if it was 105.9 The Region. Brian in studio live doing some cool stuff.
I saw a picture of him, yeah.
Yeah, looking great.
Yeah, look good.
Yeah, it looked like $1 million. Goldfingerlaw.com. Also, a shout out to our loyal subscribers on Patreon. Check us out, patreon.com/capitalptbo. And if you do that, you get your name on the Wheel of Win Nothing, which is exactly what we're going to spin right now, Matthew. Who are we looking to get a victory for today?
I don't know. Who hasn't had one in a while? I'm not going to look until we decide.
Sinclair hasn't had one in a while.
The Buzzman.
The Buzzman hasn't had one in a while. Brandon Terriel's new to the group. Who do we got?
Dara Schollard.
Oh,
Dara
he's
Schollard.
back.
One of the powerhouses of the wheel.
He's one of the original 6. I think Schollard is, I think he's 2 of the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, Schollard's got to be up there with Jim Murray now for the most wins.
I appreciate the support. Thank you very much. Patreon.com/capitalptbo.
Yes, absolutely. And that is the Wheel of Win Nothing in partnership with Flash Freeze Candy Company. Flash Freeze Candy Company, if you haven't indulged yet, you are making a big mistake. It makes a perfect little snack while you're watching some of the great playoff action, both in the OHL and NHL.
Absolutely. You've had plenty of opportunity to both acquire the candy and consume it by watching great hockey. But, available at Sure Candy. It is delicious.
Little sidebar story here off the starts, and then we're going to jump right in. We've got Pete's. We've got Leafs.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So, as referenced on the show a few weeks ago, my son, who is now just 1 month old.
Oh, yeah,
So
wow.
we're still doing some overnight feedings, of course. And generally speaking, I'm responsible for that 2:30 to 3:30 window. And anybody who's been through the grind, not you, Matt Latour, but you're looking for, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. There's a feed, there's a burp in there. And then you're, hoping they go back to bed.
Right.
And if all goes according to plan, they do. So I've been looking for little things. I've toyed around with a couple of entertainment options. I started the series Friday Night Lights.
Yes.
Kind of fell off a little bit of that.
Yeah.
I was watching YouTube versions of the Tom Green Show for a bit.
Oh, my gosh.
Those would run about 23 minutes. I've done Seinfeld. I decided that I was going to go back and watch every single Don Cherry Rock'em Sock'em video. And so I started at 1. I'm at about 8 now.
Okay.
Some of them, the original ones are only 25 minutes or something.
They're like late 80s, like 88, 89, somewhere in there.
Yeah, and then you get into 5, 6, 7. Now you're getting an hour and a half. So usually it's 2 nights that will take me. The one thing I will say, Matt, being born in 1996, you missed what I consider to be the most compelling era of hockey. And maybe everybody who's of a certain age, I would have been 4, 5, 6, would. So I'm interested to get your theory here, Mark. I think the NHL for peak physicality, fighting, with talent, with interesting playoff storylines, I feel like 92, 93, 94, to me, that's like the apex.
Yeah,
There's
I would
just
agree.
so much cool stuff going on. You're kind of pre-Trap New Jersey pre-dead puck era.
Yeah.
You've got Mario and Wayne. Wayne's
Yep.
kind of coming down, but still wins the scoring title in 94.
Yes.
Kings in the final in 93.
Yep.
Mario's winning cups. Brett Hull's scoring goals. Some people would argue that the 80s in the high-flying Oilers, that was kind of the most fun time to watch. But I feel like just when you get to out of the 80s, the goaltending is just that much better. Like, the big knock on the 80s is there's a lot of, like, stand-up goalies.
Yeah.
It's just what it is.
Yeah.
But the evolution when you get to 92, 93, 94, now you're into Waugh and Belfour and Cujo, and Hasek wins his first Vezina, and he's burst onto the scene. So for me, and then fighting, I mean, you got Probert, McSorley, Domi, you
the
get all
who's
that kind
who.
of stuff. So those are my just watching. It's amazing to look at hockey now versus back then. Some for better, we've changed. Some of the, unnecessary head injuries that people would just ignore back then that are
Yes.
super glaring.
Yeah.
One referee doesn't really get anything, so there's slashes all over. And,
Yeah.
but it's been a fun trip down memory lane to go back and watch those Don Cherry movies.
That 91 to 94 is sort of, for me too, you had expansion, which kind of, a little bit sullied the water in terms of the amount of 50 goal scorers, the amount of 100-point getters, but...
And this is old school expansion where you suck for 5 or 6 years.
That's right. You're the Tampa
Sharks,
Bay, the Sharks.
Tampa Bay, Ottawa, just an
Ottawa.
awful first year.
Brutal.
So continue your thought. But yeah.
That late 80s, like, there's really only 4 teams that are in the mix. Oilers are in there, Canadians are in there, Boston, Montreal.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's a 7-year span there, 84, 85, 86, Calgary loses, 87, 88, 89, Calgary wins, 90. Like, 6 of the 7 years, it's in Alberta. So, I mean, it's not great. But then they broke away from that. So, yeah, I would agree. Before the lockout, Gilstein ruined a lot of it. Enforcers when he brought in the what's the penalty I'm looking for here?
The famous one, the instigator.
Instigator. And then the guy put himself in the Hall of Fame. Get out of here. But you're right. That is the golden age for me.
Now, I implore anyone who's interested in this. I know there was a box set that was released a few years ago. It was like the 25 Rock'em Sock'ems.
Okay.
Problem with that I found was that they lost the copyrights for a lot of the music that they use. And it's really hokey, like instrumental type music. Mm-hmm. But Don actually had to go back and revoice some of the stuff. And you can tell he's just way older than he would have been in the normal
when
one.
He's in his 50s, sure.
So go and actually watch them in full length on YouTube. I find that better. Even though it's only standard definition, whatever. But there's a charm to it that I find incredibly entertaining.
So we've got a Don Cherry over your shoulder there as well.
Of Don Cherry.
Yeah, we do. That's that
some
hostess.
classic Don Ron Coach's Corner interactions too.
Hungry for hockey.
Yeah,
Don.
absolutely. Anyways, okay. Don Cherry, I'm sure he's very interested in the OHL final. He was always a big proponent of supporting junior hockey. I mean, where are we at, fellas? Where are we at? Peterborough goes on the road, wins Game 7 in North Bay. A couple of things I want to point out about that particular game, but just your thoughts as the Petes represent the Eastern Conference and win the Bobby Orr Trophy for the first time since 2006.
Brennan Othman comes down the wing, and I haven't seen a better roofing job since Jay Bauer. Like, holy crap. That's a pro's goal. That's a major league goal. And then to have Avon come and score the winner later on. Again, same idea. Breakaway, shelf. It never seemed like they were panicked. And even Wilson, I think you got a great read from Wilson from the interviews that he did afterwards that you guys played on Freak 90.5. That they the veteran presence, everybody kind of, understood. Nobody really clutching the stick too tight. Nobody, everybody kind of played within their means. And we've said that all along. You're going to get that in a veteran group. So I think this next round here with London, this isn't your dad's London Knights from 15 years ago. This is a different club, different. And I mean, we'll get into the tail of the tape, but I liked what I saw. I thought that it was a perfect road game. Guys blocking shots inside the last 30, 40 seconds. Owen Beck diving in front. There's not much more you can say. It's a gutsy effort.
Yeah, I think gutsy is a good word for it. Down in the series, you get down in Game 7, and this team they don't quit. Like Game 5 wasn't great.
Yeah,
That's really the only dud they've had.
Yeah, it's
for
the only one.
The entire postseason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I mean, you blow the one lead against Ottawa, but the game itself, you were in control of for probably 65% of. The Petes look good, and. How long has Rob Wilson been saying we just have to make the playoffs and we can go on our own? It felt like we had about 3 weeks where we kept flip-flopping on, okay, the Petes can make the finals to the Petes have to figure it out. And Rob Wilson the whole time was saying, just let us get to the playoffs and see what happens. And he was right.
I was wondering about halfway through the year, is Rob Wilson going to be coaching the Peterborough Petes?
Right.
You
next
and I'm
season?
sure a few people, yeah.
Yeah.
And now I'm wondering, is Rob Wilson going to be coaching the Petes next season? Because no doubt he's going to get a look from the professional ranks.
I would think so.
Which would be interesting. The one thing that I really jumped out to me about game number 7 and game 6, Matt, you're right. I mean, they're down fairly late in that one until Sam Maillet scored. But game number 7, Mark, you described it as a perfect road game. They're able to get out of an early hole.
Yeah.
They're able to rebound after it seemed like North Bay was going to take back the momentum. There was a power play that they had early in the third period in which they did nothing on.
Right.
And sometimes those can be momentum killers.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And the crowd gets back into it. They score. Still a lot of time on the clock for North Bay to mount an attack. And one of the things that plagued them in the previous series was blowing leads. They blew the game 5 against Ottawa. They nearly blew the game 6 against Ottawa. I mean, North Bay, was there even one B-plus scoring chance the rest of the way?
No.
And it goes to what you were saying. They were really protecting the house, if you will. I mean, we know Sean Spearing was out blocking shots. He did 2 with his face, according to head coach Rob Wilson. Owen Beck for sure. I mean, everyone just buying in and blocking shots. And it just never felt like I was waiting for a big wave of offense to come that just never really did.
Produced.
And I don't think it was North Bay running out of gas. I think it was more Peterborough just playing this structured, unbelievably well defensive third period.
Absolutely, I would agree.
There's a few things I really liked. 2 minutes left at the North Bay pulls their goal in. Yeah, I don't think there was one grade A quality chance in there. The story of the Petes packing the bus before game 6.
I love this.
That's amazing.
I'm glad you brought this up. Sports on some level can be mind game-ish.
Absolutely.
And even if North Bay drives by that, even if they don't see it or whatever, it doesn't get back to them. You're also playing mind games with your own team.
Yep.
Sure.
You hear that in the professional ranks of we're only packing one suit because, we're not staying there more days.
Right.
I love that. It was so unbelievable. And then in the postgame, he said, well, we don't do anything by accident, basically was his quote, which I thought was great. But I remember at Joe Louis Arena when the Red Wings were playing the Avalanche one of the years, I think it was 2002, and Scotty Bowman had a big sign put up outside the locker room of the Colorado Avalanche, and it just said, home of the 97 and 98 Stanley Cup champions. And they highlighted that on the CBC broadcast at the time. It was like these little... I mean, the margin for error when you get to that point is so razor thin, but it's just like, what can I do mentally to kind of stay ahead? Yeah. I love the packing of the bus. And then the parking of the bus.
Yeah.
Like right so everybody could see it.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. Stroke of genius.
I think, so I really liked that. And then, I mean, looking ahead to the finals, there's storylines galore here. Like 2000, the only final that London's ever lost was 06.
That's right.
Against the Peterborough Petes in a sweep after the Hunters bashed on the Peterborough Memorial Center boards.
Barn with 1902 boards.
Yeah.
That was the quote.
Michael Simpson from London.
Yes.
Yes.
That's a big one. And
actually,
then,
Michael Simpson's dad, Rob, if he's not the general manager, he's high up in the management at London Knights.
I didn't know that. And then, of course, Peterborough's looking to become the second 4 seed to ever win the championship.
Right.
Yeah,
With
right.
Guelph being the other one a couple years ago.
Well, and that's something that I wanted to talk about too is the road that Peterborough has had to travel to get to this point has been, in my estimation, a little bit harder than what London has had to do. Now, that can work both ways. One, are they exhausted because they've had to go through Ottawa, North Bay? And Sudbury was no slouch of a team.
Yeah, sure.
It's the first time since 1999 that there's no 1 seed playing at this stage. You had to go way, way back. And, of course, we know that Windsor got upset in the West, and then Peterborough took care of Ottawa in the East.
Right.
But that just goes to show you that you don't usually get these 4 seeds making it this far.
No.
There's always one runaway team that seemingly never gets upset. And that hasn't been the case this year, which I think is kind of cool.
I think history will remember this team differently, though, in the same way as we remember like the 8th seed LA Kings type thing, where the Peterborough, no matter what, finishing in the top 4, home ice advantage hasn't mattered to this club. You close it out in North Bay, close it out with Ottawa.
But also they're 7-1 on home ice.
7-1 on home ice, certainly, yeah.
And I'd like to say I went to the game they lost. I'm not going to any games in the finals. I won't step foot in the building.
But then you single-handedly turned it around on Sunday afternoon. Ottawa, no?
Yeah.
You see?
Well, see, I went to Ottawa and they won, but my record for going to games in London for other teams, not great. So I'm not going to go to London.
So you better stay away.
I'll stay right here in my apartment.
To go back to the point, I mean, London has that. It has that cachet. Like Hunter's been there for 20 years. They've never missed the postseason.
They're the New England Patriots.
They are.
Like the Yankees, I said, of the OHL.
Like, to put it in perspective, in junior hockey, it's hard to win, let alone hard to repeat. Aside from the first 2 years that Hunter's there, they've only had 1 year where he's had a winning percentage sub 600 in 18 years. That's hard to imagine. But they haven't been out of the second round in 6 years. So, and this team, in a team where you've had Spatzes and you've had Tavares and you've had Kane and you've had, this myriad of guys. Here, the leading scorers on their team are 2 overage kids that aren't NHL draft picks.
That's a very good point. When I think of both these sides, actually on paper, I think talent-wise, I give the edge to Peterborough.
I would too.
Both teams just are balanced.
Yeah.
They are so balanced. When you look at the scoring, from the top 5 or 6 players.
Yep.
It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And that's right when you said it's not your father's London Knights. There's no Dave Bolin scoring 120 points. There's no Patrick Kane scoring 120 points. It's just a more concerted team effort. And to talk about their struggles, one thing that happened early on in the year, I think a lot of people thought, whoa, this is not going to be a very good team. They were one of the last 2 teams to even pick up a win, I think, on the season. Like, it was a bad start.
Yeah.
And then, collectively, the program took over and they started playing extremely well.
Right.
And ended up with 45 wins, which was great. But, I can't say going into this series that Peterborough is a decided underdog. I can't say that.
I wouldn't say.
I refuse to.
I would say London actually is an underdog of some respect. I think the talent-wise, in a game like junior hockey where veteran leadership and goal scoring matters, London has 11 guys that have scored double digits. So it's like a by committee sort of approach. Whereas, the Petes have 9. London has no 30-goal scorer. Logan Mayu was, I think he's 4th in team scoring this year. So, again, in a by-committee approach in junior hockey can have its plus side. But at the same token, the Petes have the top line type thing where they can take over a game.
I think playing against Logan Mayu will be interesting for the Petes because Ty Nelson gave them a lot of issues against North Bay from the blue line. And Logan Mayu is very similar type game. He's a bigger guy. I'd be interested to see how they match up in that aspect. But, I like Peterborough's roster more. Maybe it's just because I've seen them more. And then you look at the 2 games they played this year. It was one before Christmas. London won that one 5-2. And then one after Christmas, Peterborough picked up a 3-0 shutout.
I want to issue not a total apology, but look, Brennan Othman kind of left me flat when he came over. I thought, talented guy, he's going to score his goals. I'm not sure if he impacts the game the way I want from a star. Looked like sometimes he was sulking a little bit. The gel wasn't there. Of course, they go out and they add Gavin White and Owen Beck and Cam Govero. Avery Hayes, of course. Mm-hmm. What I have seen out of Brennan Othman, not only on the ice, but it is obvious that he has leadership qualities that I didn't necessarily attribute to him with my eye at the very beginning.
Yeah.
And for that, I apologize.
I would...
Because he's yelling. He's rah-rah. He's definitely... I'm going to be the best player on this ice. And, Scott Arnold said, it's almost like Michael Jordan. Hold on a minute. It's almost like Michael Jordan in a sense that, all of his teammates aren't going to necessarily like them because he's demanding a lot of them.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing.
No, it's not, especially from a leadership guy. That you want a guy that is certainly going to stay positive, maybe give the boys a talking to when it's necessary, but you better go out on the ice and back it up. Mm-hmm. In a lot of these ways... Again, same like hold your applause to the end, Mark Messier bit. But when Mark says, I guarantee we're coming back for Game 7, and he goes out and scores all 3, in the same sort of way, when he looked at you on the bench, you understood. I'm not saying Othman's there. I mean, he's a young kid.
The Moose.
But that's something you can't teach. You know, you have it, or you either have it and can absorb it and can distribute it to others, or you can't.
Talking about great core leadership, Toronto Maple Leafs.
Mm-hmm.
Mark, last week, I gave you the entire free reign. Let's play iso ball. You're going to take it. About the Boston Bruins.
Yeah.
I think, at the very least, you and I misdiagnosed the Florida Panthers a little bit.
I would agree.
They are far more, better than I had thought. They're faster.
Yes.
Like, they're a faster team than Tampa Bay. There's no question.
Yes.
Some of their young stars are a little bit better than maybe I gave them credit for. So, Matt, are you going to point to the fact that I said Leafs in 5?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
That didn't end up happening.
I keep receipts.
Yeah.
I did say lower seeded teams that make comebacks in the first round go on runs. And I mean, there's still games left in this series as of recording this, but it could still happen.
Mark, what do you do with the 4 players that vanished? What do you do? Because there's people who said, okay, you can't run it back.
You're only here as a result of their performances. So let's get that to the open floor first. If this team does come back and you're watching this and you're seeing wins on the Saturday and wins on the Tuesday or whatever the rest of the schedule is.
We are recording this on Wednesday, May 10th.
Right.
FYI.
So if you're watching Leafs hockey still on May 18th, it will be 100% as a result of the Big 4 getting the job unequivocally accomplished. Going to your point about running it back, Mitch has 4 playoff goals in 34 playoff games, in his last 34 playoff games. None have come in game 3 through 7 of any series. He's only scored in game 1 and game 2. That's difficult. A lot of guys want to they want to rag on Johnny too. All he does is get you a point a game. That's all he does. And I mean, for the amount of, I guess what I'm trying to say is this. If they've come back, Matthews has been close. He's got a couple of posts. There's a couple of crossbars. There's the butt end of the stick in game 1. He's going to continue to shoot. Maybe he's hurt. Maybe he's just having a terrible week. Same with Mitch. Same with Willie. Same with John. Or maybe the Panthers are just that stifling because Florida hasn't blown the barn doors off this Leaf team. They haven't, but they've been incrementally better.
Success or not, should it end in the second round of the playoffs?
If it does, if you trade one of or two of these guys, be prepared. Be prepared to become a wild card club. And then you're going to, I wish the Leafs were better.
Being a wild card club doesn't seem so bad right now.
Sure, only because you can avoid Boston and Tampa likely. But, you're going to have other teams that are going to take a step. Ottawa Senators are going to take a step. If they get a free agent goaltender, like Justin and I talked about yesterday, if they were to get a Connor Hellebuck, the Sens immediately vault up that division. If we have a guy come in and saying, do you think you can trade Matthews straight up for Chicago's first?
No.
What planet are you on?
I sent Jordan a tweet yesterday. It was a Leaf fan saying, we'll give up Marner and Kerfoot for Connor Bedard.
Like Mitch and Austin probably don't get that done.
Mitch and Austin might. Those two together?
Maybe.
But that's a maybe.
Maybe. You trade these guys, trust me, you won't want the result. You will not want to watch Leaf hockey next year.
Since we are going there with the draft lottery.
Yeah.
Man, that has to be the dumbest half hour on television.
I don't even watch
First of all, there was
anymore.
no suspense at all because, what was it? 16 through 3 all stayed the same, basically. And then just the ultimate screw up where they're going to commercial break. Did you catch this, Matt?
Kevin Weeks gave it away.
They're going to commercial break. It wasn't even Kevin. It's obviously a pre-recorded comment.
Yeah.
Because they do that after everyone. It's like, well, the Montreal Canadiens have only drafted 5th and Carey Price. So they have all that canned. It's not live. I don't know why it's not live.
Like, I know.
Why can't you do that
isn't
live?
it live? Right.
So they play the pre-recorded message of, oh, we have our first shuffle in order. Columbus is now 3rd. So as a viewer, I'm thinking, okay, I must have just missed it or whatever. They come back to the break, and I don't know how you handle this, but both ESPN and Sportsnet pretend like it never happened.
Yeah, right.
And it goes back to them and be like, wow, I can't believe it. Columbus, they got... And I was just like, they don't even acknowledge that happened, whereas everybody, and it just feeds into the rigged narrative.
Right.
I've got the clip of Kevin Weeks here.
Yeah, give it to us here.
Let's get this up here. I forgot I had the tab.
Come on, Jamie.
I had the tab muted. All right,
Come on, Jamie,
all right.
what are you doing?
We're working on it.
Since 1998. And there is our first change in the order, with Columbus dropping to 3rd. So now either Anaheim or Chicago will select 1st overall.
Before the card
Anaheim
gets flipped.
has never selected 1st overall, and the last time Chicago drafted number 1 was when they took future Hall of Famer Patrick Kane. We'll be back after this.
Why not do it live?
Why not do it live?
I don't get it. It's more with the ping pong balls coming out. Like,
aren't you feeding that narrative with like gasoline?
now, I think if my understanding is correct, they do the official draw in a closed room with team representatives there. So the idea that they're going to agree on this rig thing is not going to happen. I mean, this goes all the way back to the Patrick Ewing frozen envelope thing.
Yeah, right.
Which actually was happening live.
That's right.
Back in 1985. But it's just... The NHL, it's just sometimes it's like they just really can't do anything like
I know.
A+.
They get
You
in their
couldn't
own
see a
way.
mistake. The NFL's not making that mistake. They just
No.
aren't.
No, they're not. They're not making that mistake.
When it comes to television programming, the NHL sometimes, holy.
And the NFL sometimes is like the leader, unequivocally leader.
How about us talking 2 months ago about how Chicago won't get it because it's rigged, and then they get it because it's rigged?
Right. Or how about Chicago not getting it because of all the other indiscretions, and then they get it as a result of, having those indiscretions. Like, I just, and the other thing for Bedard, I mean, say what you want about Chicago itself. This is not, is there any market really that's going to be Connor Bedard friendly? I mean, if he went to Vancouver, maybe because that's where he's from. I mean, would he be that much better off in Anaheim? Personally, I think he would. You're in the sunshine.
On the beach, man.
Sure. But you're a West Coast kid. You're on the West Coast. You're in Anaheim. You've got 8 or 9 beat reporters. You're not in an original 6 franchise.
He's going to need a point per game, or people are going to be all over him.
I think you can give him look at the surrounding cast. Like, it's going to be him, Athanasiou, and I don't know who.
I think if he goes to Anaheim, the upside early would have been better, just based on the younger.
Yeah,
absolutely.
There,
that were there. McTavish,
Zegras,
Drysdale.
Yeah.
The one thing that I feel bad about for Anaheim is, correct me if I'm wrong, but did they not have the best odds in the Sidney Crosby sweepstakes?
Correct.
And they lose there. Go down to 2. You get Bobby Ryan, serviceable, decent NHLer, but not someone who's going to turn your franchise around. And now they have the opportunity to get Bedard, and they have the best odds, and they still don't.
Adam Fantilli,
he's going to be really good.
Right, but don't at me about, Fantilli in any other draft years, number 1, fine. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the NCAA or USHL or any of that sort of route in terms of for these. I feel like you should come to the CHL and play against the best. 65 points in 36 games for Fantilli, that's nice. That's nice. But, I mean, this kid Bedard's got 81 goals.
I am going to throw in a bit of a gripe here. My Red Wings have been in the draft lottery for 7 straight years. Never moved up once, not one spot. And they've fallen 4 times.
Luck.
I'm sorry. That's just something about that ain't right.
Yeah.
He dominated like a decade and a half of hockey. I don't want to hear it.
I want more.
I have no sympathy for the
I want
Blackhawks
more.
or for the
What's
Red
that,
Wings.
Vince McMahon? Give me more.
Stop it.
I've got an insatiable appetite.
Yeah, go back to that late 80s, early 90s Detroit Red Wings.
Yeah.
How about when they draft Datsuk at like 1,000th overall?
Yeah, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, and Zetterberg.
A lot of great stuff, a lot of fun. Does the second round of the playoffs stink? Like, it's no way lives up to what we saw in the first, no?
I think
Carolina, Jersey.
Right.
Have we had a close game in that series yet?
Not in that one. I mean, the best game was maybe game 1, Seattle, Dallas.
Yeah.
Everything else seems to be
soft markets.
Yeah.
Like Gary has got to be, in the rigged, era, quote unquote.
You can only focus on one script at a time.
Well, I guess that's it because, some of these other Carolina, Seattle, Dallas, Vegas and Edmonton, thankfully.
The game 1 was good in that series, 6-4 Vegas. But yeah, you get an overtime game between Toronto and Florida.
Yeah, that series, we've been watching it super close. It's been, other than the 3-9. By the way, uncovering a tidbit, because I'm a bit of a nerd about history. The last time the Maple Leafs were swept in a 7-game series.
Oh.
The last time the Leafs were swept in a 7-game series.
I don't even know. Like, is it in the 90s?
78, 79.
Wow.
You got to go way back. So the Leafs, they usually are in their series. Like, you don't often see this. Now, the caveat is that, remember, the NHL had the preliminary round for a while where it was 3 out of 5.
That's right, best of 5.
And they were also swept in 3 straight by the Islanders, 80-81.
Sure.
Team that went on to win the Cup.
Yeah, it's a different kind of team they're playing against.
Different little setup. If the Stanley Cup is up for grabs, what about the Larry O.B.? That feels about as up for grabs as I can remember. With all due respect. Oh, you and your LeBron.
Where's my guy?
You're smiling.
Here we go.
Where is he?
I'm a LeBron guy, and even I don't want to listen to it.
Where is he? It's up 3-1. Traveling home for game 5 tonight.
How about
Wednesday night, last night?
I had the Celtics as a favorite coming out of the first round, and now they're down 3-2 against Philly as we record.
Okay. How about this though? For real, not even league narratives, but just going to legacy. Joel Embiid has a lack for showing up in big-time limelight games, 1, and Jimmy Butler is cold-blooded as they come. Yes or no?
There's a playoff performer right there.
Maybe the best. He might be the best money playoff NBA player that I can remember, maybe outside of Michael. There's very few that...
I think Kawhi's got an argument.
Oh, really?
Come to Toronto, win a championship.
Okay, comes to Toronto, wins a championship, and then he's been off ever since.
Yeah.
He's been out.
Well, when he's played in the playoffs, he's been pretty well lights out. This year being the exception.
I know what you're saying. He basically averages an extra 4 or 5 points per game in the playoffs versus the regular season.
Yeah.
He goes from 18 to 23.
Jimmy, though.
Yeah. Yeah, Jimmy.
Holy smokes. A 50 in an elimination game.
By the way, J.J. Redick interviewing with the Raptors.
Yeah, the Raptors.
I'd be cool with that. I like JJ.
Where's our girl Becky Hammond? Where's she in this?
She's in the mix.
She's in the mix too.
She's in the mix a little bit.
I heard her say that she downplayed it, but I thought a guy like Masai, he's that kind of guy, right? He wants to push the narrative. He'd
make the move.
He would make the move.
Yep.
Let's get some retired former Raptor as coach. Who would be a good one? Give me Hito Turkoglu as the coach.
Ball.
Crazy. I think we might be able to pass
Damon
on
Stoudemire, isn't he?
Yeah, sure. He's at Georgia Tech, yeah.
Miscellaneous.
Okay.
Georgia declining its invitation to the White House, saying the date offered was, quote, not feasible.
Really?
How long until all the White House stuff is done? I liked it. It was a nice tradition. And then all of a sudden, politics gets in the mix with Tim Thomas and Obama and then the Trump stuff. And now Georgia's saying, that doesn't work for me, brother, that date.
Yeah.
I don't know when if we just kind of do away with it. Because it makes the White House look a little embarrassing, too.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with it not being.
Yeah, I think it's in time in this political landscape, you got to pass.
Pat McAfee has hinted for a while now that while he signed a 4-year deal with FanDuel, he's exploring options. ESPN is the front runner to land the Pat McAfee show. Matt, that's your account, Pat McAfee.
I'm a big Pat McAfee fan.
Yeah.
He makes $30 million a year from FanDuel right now. So whatever ESPN's offering him has got to be a big bag.
$30 million.
And he's got about as much leash as you can get there. Like, he's swearing on the show.
Yeah.
But, like, you look at it, he gets Aaron Rodgers on once a week, and, while the trade talks were happening, that's the hottest commodity for any interview. He had Ian Rappaport hosting the show this week because he just had a kid. It's a really funny show. I just don't know if it fits with ESPN because of the profanity.
But maybe that's what makes it work, because ESPN needs to start rethinking because it's not doing great in terms of traction.
Yeah.
So maybe it's, okay, we need to figure this out. And McAfee, by the way, one of the hardest working men in showbiz, is he still doing the WWE thing? At WWE?
Not right now.
He's got
he's off until
ESPN College Game Day. He helps out on that.
That's why he's off WWE right now, because of the College Game Days. But he's apparently going to be coming back for it.
So. That's what makes it hard for me with McAfee to take him serious.
Too much?
Because, no, I feel like everything is like a WWE-style shoot. Like when he's on the NFL Today or when he's on ESPN College Game Day.
It feels performative to you.
It does. Yeah, and I always feel like there's not as much me
coming off that bone. Have you seen Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith?
Well, don't get me started there. Those two guys are only in it for themselves.
The linear TV portion of the Kentucky Derby averaged 14.4 million viewers, NBC said, while the network streaming platforms had an average minute audience of about 371,000. It is the most watched sporting event since the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Sport of Kings continues to deliver big ratings. The one thing I will point out, because of some of the scratches of the favored horses, a little bit hard to bet in Ontario. We watch television coverage now, and you're inundated with sign up here, sign up there, sign up here, sign up there.
Yeah.
It was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I log on casually to look for horse odds, and they don't exist.
Right.
Now, eventually, they did come around, but it struck me as odd. They were scrambling in Ontario.
Was there, based on what happened to the 7 horses?
Yeah, euthanized.
Does this?
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, 7 horses used.
Not in the one race, but throughout the day. There's like 20 races.
Okay.
Does that black eye the sport in any way, shape, or form?
It's not great.
It's not good.
It goes to show you, and organizers at Churchill Downs said they need to really look at the turf and the footing and all of that kind of stuff.
7.
Broke Mrs. M's heart when I told her that. And I said, well, yeah, they basically have to euthanize a horse if it breaks its leg.
Yeah.
The horse won't. You can't say, hey, Johnny, you want to stay off your leg for a while.
Yeah.
That was bad. It was.
Like
so
almost double-digit percentage of horses that ran for the last time.
I didn't know that's what happened.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
The LA Dodgers wrapped up a road series with the Milwaukee Brewers. And guess what? Mookie Betts will now have to check out of his Airbnb. While the rest of the team was staying at the Pfister Hotel, the All-Star center fielder opted to rent out his own place because it is rumored to be haunted. That's not the part that Matt Latour is laughing about.
No, it's not. And we'll save that for...
I'm a child. Just leave
that's for the after hours
That's
edition.
the post-season episode, yeah.
Haunted, fair or foul in that case. I'm going to stay at this Airbnb because I think there's spirits involved.
Do we need the fair or foul?
Yeah. You haven't? You
got mail.
Oh, Jamie.
Come on.
Come on.
I don't even know which one it is.
When you make a mistake.
Now, to be fair.
There you go.
To be fair.
Foul.
Strange.
Yeah.
Certainly strange. I mean, I don't know. Like that to me seems like the type of stuff that like, could ruin a ball team.
The Overlook Hotel, The Shining.
Yeah,
Jack
right.
Nicholson.
Yeah.
The Miami Dolphins will play Kansas City on November the 5th in Germany.
Yes.
It'll be the first game for wide receiver Tyreek Hill playing against his former team. The following week, it'll be the Colts and the Patriots from Frankfurt Stadium. Remember the Frankfurt Galaxy
yeah.
of NFL Europe. 3 games are also scheduled in London.
It's time now, right? Like this innovation, this experiment has gone extremely well. You can have an NFL Europe. I'm not sure about how. I'm not sure.
Bringing it back?
Well, I think you could have a division inside the National Football League, I think, and have it, especially in the NFL, maybe only in the NFL because of the way that the games are set.
It's definitely something that they want. The NBA's wanted it too.
Yeah.
With the branching out global. That's our MISC section. A lot of good stuff to get there too. Mm-hmm. I got a new segment here, and we don't have any background audio or anything like that.
I can make one on the fly.
Working title is I Can't Believe That.
I can't believe that.
I can't believe that.
Cut it. Okay, good. That's our thing.
So I'm going to throw out a couple of different sport-related stats, facts, and I'm going to tell you, I can't believe that.
Okay.
Got this one for you right away. In the playoffs, Mariano Rivera, ever heard of him?
Yeah.
Untouchable. He has 96 appearances and allowed only 11 earned runs in his entire postseason career. How impressive is that, you may ask? The stat is, it is more common for a person to walk on the moon than for Mariano Rivera to give up a run. 11 runs versus 12 people to step foot on the moon.
I can't believe that.
I like that. 11 runs.
Wow.
Only 2 home runs he ever let up. Sandy Alomar Jr. and I think Jay Payton. It was in the Subway Series, I believe.
Wow.
That he gave one up.
I got a stat for this afterwards, too.
Fire away.
Right now?
Yeah.
The World Chess Championships just
Oh,
concluded.
come on. I can't believe that.
See?
Yeah.
18 games, and there was 6 mistakes made.
8 and what would the
What's a mistake?
Yeah, what's a mistake?
A mistake is where it allows the opponent to gain an advantage. A blunder, as they're called.
How many blunders would be typical in 18 games or a game?
I think I'm a pretty good chess player, and I usually make 1 a game. And these 2 guys combined made 6 over 18 games.
Just comparing yourself. The ego on you.
Yeah.
The ego
I can't believe that.
Yeah.
on you.
That was Bobby Fischer. Bobby Fischer, the new
I
program
can't believe
director.
this. Desmond Howard, the only player ever to win Super Bowl MVP for solely special teams. Actually, I can't kind of believe that.
Yeah, that's true. That was big.
If the Bears win, maybe Devin Hester. Remember, he returned the opening kick.
Yes, absolutely, I do.
Thought maybe they would never give it to a field goal kicker, would they? You'd have to make like 6.
You'd have to make 6.
7.
One would have to be a clutch 50-yarder to win
Defensive
it.
showdown.
Yeah, a Vinatieri style.
Can't believe that. Okay, I got 2 more. During the 1961 season, Wilt Chamberlain averaged 48.5 minutes per game. He averaged more minutes per game than there are in regulation because he played all the overtime games.
Right.
I can't believe that.
I can't believe that.
That's insane. And talk about something that'll never, ever be broken. Last but not least here, the longest fight with gloves in boxing. Take a guess.
Rounds?
Yes.
The number of rounds?
I'll take rounds or I'll take time.
Give me 23 rounds.
Give me 30 rounds.
110 rounds. The longest recorded fight with gloves between Andy Bowen of New Orleans and Jack Burke, tough guy, in New Orleans in 1893. It lasted 110 rounds and went 7 hours and 19 minutes. Eventually declared a no contest.
Are you
Can you
kidding?
imagine putting in that sort of effort and then it's like, no, it's done.
I can't believe that.
110. Okay, I've got one.
Not to be outdone, though, Bowen also won an 85-round bout the following month.
The following month?
Next month.
This guy he's honestly,
That's insane.
He's the greatest fighter ever. 195 rounds in 30 days.
Andy Bowen, I had never heard of him before.
No.
That was back in the area. Remember, they were like this?
Yeah, I guess. Wow. Watching this bit on Nolan Ryan where to determine how fast his pitch was, it is believed that Nolan Ryan was throwing 108 to 109 miles an hour.
With modern technology.
Modern
looking at
technology now has turned it that they believe that there's an 8 to 9 mile per hour difference in between the radar gun and today's technology. They figure Ryan was throwing consistently 108, 109 mile an hour.
Whew. It's a lot.
That is a lot.
That's how we do. I can't believe that.
Oh, my gosh.
Mano y mano challenge.
Yes. So
Mark is the quiz master.
I am the quiz master. And so now I get to exact my revenge on Latour.
We do this at the end of every show. Some of us ask trivia questions. Some of us answer better than others. Quizmaster.
Okay.
That's the topic here.
The Quizmaster topic. Now, to be fair, I wanted to get something that you both have a strong affinity for. I don't think we've done this before. And there are Just a little bit over 30 guys on the list.
Okay.
Okay. Winners of the WWE's Royal Rumble.
Oh, boy.
Winners of the WWE
I've
Royal
got
Rumble.
2004 and after on lock. He's got everything before on lock.
I was going to say, do you want to start? You start in 2023. I'll start in 1988.
All
We'll
right.
meet in the middle.
Okay, just a disclaimer here. The fact that Mercier even said the first winners in 1988, this thing may go 0 horns.
All right.
Okay.
Who's going first?
I will.
All right.
All right.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan
Correct.
in Hamilton, Ontario.
Yep.
Eliminating one-man gang. Yes.
Ric Flair.
Ric Flair.
Oh, you thought I was going to
I
play
thought
by
you were
your
gonna
rules.
play by the
No,
rules.
no, no.
Okay.
Ric Flair, 1992, eliminated Sid Justice. Yes.
Big John Studd.
It's the
Big John
weirdest
Studd,
one.
1989, eliminated the $1 Million Man.
Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan, 1990 and 91. Yes.
Yokozuna.
Yokozuna. We're going in order here. This is going to end poorly. 1993, eliminated the Macho Man.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Steve Austin, 97, 98, 2001.
Bret Hart and Lex Luger.
Now this is ridiculous. Bret Hart and Lex Luger are
It's a tie.
co-winners in 94, yes.
Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
Vincent Kennedy McMahon in 1999. He
Oldest
eliminated Steve Austin.
Shawn Michaels.
We are going in order. This is ridiculous. 1995, 1996, eliminating the British Bulldog and Diesel.
I'll switch up the order here.
I don't like this, though. You're taking some of mine, so
I know. That
nervous.
was the strategy.
Yeah.
The Undertaker.
The Undertaker, 2007. Yes.
The Rock.
The Rock.
2000 Madison Square Garden.
Correct. Eliminated the Big Show. Thank you.
We're schooling the Quizmaster. That's awful.
Ridiculous.
Rey Mysterio.
Rey Mysterio, 2006, eliminated Randy Orton.
Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
Triple H, 2002. Yes.
Chris Benoit.
Oh my God. The last segment we're ever having on wrestling trivia.
No, I think my goose is cooked.
Chris Benoit, 2004.
So I stay very comforted in like a middle ground, and that's pretty much it. So I'm just gonna throw.
Yeah, 03 is the first year you don't have. Neither of yous.
2003. I don't know. There's a Roman Reigns on there though somewhere.
He's got 2, I think.
Roman Reigns, 2015 Roman Reigns.
I believe
correct.
03 would be Brock Lesnar.
2003 is Brock Lesnar.
And 2022.
Correct. Also correct.
Batista.
05.
Batista, 2005, eliminating.
And 2014, I think.
Correct.
Nice. Cody Rhodes, 2023.
Cody Rhodes, 2023.
The strategy game.
Edge.
Oh, yeah.
Edge, correct.
You got
2021 and 2010.
That's a good one. Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yeah, now we're in the fine strokes here. 2018, correct.
John Cena.
John Cena, 2013, 2008.
Now, hold on. Is this men's Royal Rumble? Because there's a women's Rumble as well.
This
Oh, come on.
is
No, I just want to make sure.
this is men's.
Just the men's.
I believe there's only 3 remaining.
Drew McIntyre.
Drew McIntyre is correct. 2020.
Seth Rollins.
Correct. 2019.
I didn't even know you knew Seth Rollins existed. That's a good one. 2017. We don't know.
That's the last one.
2017 you have. 2012 you've not said. 2011 you've not said.
2012.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. And 2011. That's like my wheelhouse.
11, 12, and 19.
No pressure. I'm totally out.
19. That's a tough one. I don't think it's him. AJ Styles. Yeah.
Okay. Mercier. There's 3 left.
Oh, I got one. I got 2.
Oh.
Uh-oh. I'm in trouble.
Oh, I got 3.
Oh, he knows. CM Punk.
Really good guess.
Let the record show that's the first strike I've gotten in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And we're in the short straws here.
Yeah. Randy Orton.
Randy Orton, correct.
Jordan knows he should have had that one.
Nah. Trying to remember even anybody. Kurt Angle, terrible guess.
Not your best.
We're past his day.
Yeah, we're past his day. No.
Alberto Del Rio.
Correct. Alberto Del Rio in 2011. That would pretty well do it.
And I think I know the last one.
Let's hear it.
Sheamus?
Sheamus in 2012. That completes it. Though now I think, did you say Seth Rollins?
He did, yeah.
Yeah. So that's everybody. We'll never do wrestling again.
Do Intercontinental Champions. One thing we will do
Yes.
is Game 3 of the B Final for the Peterborough Table Hockey Association Championship.
Yes, you will.
It is Steve and Heather, and this series is currently tied at a game apiece. All right, here we go. As I mentioned, the series tied at 1. Heather on the left of the screen, Steve on the right. Kind of different games in games 1 and 2 that we saw.
Yeah, we did. A lot more open playing game 2 here.
4:43.
Quick one there
right.
from Heather. 17 seconds in, gets it off 1-0.
I think the referee is Jim Maker,
Jim Maker, correct.
who we have been calling McCarr.
Yeah.
Just because we got a 1-1 game here. We did want a little bit of clarity on his last name. It is Maker, not McCarr.
Just pounding on the goaltender there from center ice.
Sketchy camera work by me on this one.
You know,
low.
You know what I found on watching the first couple of games and then correlating it to the Hockey Night in Canada, Dallas Aikens coverage, good Peterborough boy on there. Dallas Aikens comes over to the gem. 80% of the game is played within 3 feet of the boards. The exact same can be said here for tabletop hockey.
I didn't know that.
When you watch the gameplay here, we mentioned in game 1, you'll see a lot of it is the one-timer, certainly the setting up from the sideboards, the wraparounds, that sort of thing.
How do you think Dallas Aikens has done in the coverage? He had tough shoes to fill with Lalonde. Lalonde was a bit of a critical success.
3:52. Both ready?
I think for a guy like Dallas, to be honest, and we wrote this on a Spit and Chicklets comment a couple of weeks ago, you might have seen, he's been the hardest luck NHL coach of all time. He's coached 130 goal scorer in his career, 180-point getter his whole career. Like, you've given him nothing.
He's a Carey Price of coaches.
Yeah.
The Carey Price, but he's never won any individual awards even.
Yeah, but Price has never had somebody more than point per game.
Oh, that's true.
Since Kovalev.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, nice goal there by Steve.
Steve takes the lead.
It's a nice
2-1.
one-timer right there.
It is fun to watch the one-timers live and like when they happen, that just to have the the hand-eye coordination to be able to bang. Like,
that
it's
reminded
fun.
me of Adam Oates to Brett Hull. We talked about early 90s hockey a
Yeah,
little bit
no
earlier.
kidding. Each helped each other's career there. Like,
Can I
Hull
make-
never scored more goals than he did with
Adam Oates. Then they got rid of him to Boston, right?
Yeah.
Went to Boston for a while.
Yeah.
Matt, you pointed this out, just the intricacies of the sponsorship graphics on the boards, which I think are really cool.
Shout
You
out
got
Extra
Pizza Hut,
90.5.
Extra 90.5. I think there's a global one on there. It looks really, really good. Really neat.
So these are custom add-ons that they've made. They've built it into a frame around the outside, like you can see where the wheels are for scoring and that sort of thing. But yeah, it's fun, the little on ice or on boards advertising.
Yes.
They do have one of the boards that's signed by Wendell Clark. Wendell Clark showed up and he signed the top of the board.
Do you think Wendell Clark's good at table hockey?
No.
No. 2-2. Heather. Big goal there. Statistically, it's pivotal to win this game 3 when your series is locked at 1-1.
Correct. Gives you that nice mental edge. 2-1, knowing that if you can take game 4, give yourself a nice 3-1 advantage here.
That's right. Oh. Did that go in? No. Missed the net. A lot of board play, Mark. You kind of pointed that tidbit, and this has definitely been a lot of board play in this game.
It's funny that for these sorts of games, everybody's played tabletop hockey at some point. smaller boards versus a bigger board. The smaller board seems to obviously keep the play a lot. It's a lot tighter. There's not as much room there. And maybe that's how they like it. Maybe the game plays faster like that. I'm not sure.
1:30 left.
How did you get connected with the Peterborough Table Hockey Association?
Yeah, so we had Steve come into the store.
Steve Whiteside.
Steve Whiteside. He just happened to come into the store, and we
1:21.
Heather
Ready?
jumps right out.
takes the lead.
That's big.
And kind of we just kind of had a conversation about tabletop hockey, and they had this league, and I knew a little bit about it from the gentleman Sid Klusterman that used to run it prior to the pandemic type thing, and I thought it would make great. Like it's fun. Everybody loves table hockey, and I think that from a pure enjoyment standpoint,
We're definitely revolutionizing sports table hockey coverage. There's no doubt about that.
And I think that there's plenty of potential here down the road for for more with tabletop. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So we're getting to the late stages of this one. Heather holding a 3-2 lead right now. Oh, no, Stevie.
Steve.
5 seconds left.
Big goal. We are under a minute left in regulation here. Could we possibly get an overtime game?
Goal.
Oh,
30
Steve.
seconds.
That's big.
From center ice, that's a tough one.
Yeah. That's Lidstrom on Kluche, 2002.
Kluche, was he double blockered then?
It wasn't great.
Nah. Here we go. Oh,
Let's see if Heather's able to tie this one up. She doesn't want to go down two games to one here.
10 seconds.
10 seconds. Here we
10
go.
seconds left according to...
Goal.
wait a
Jimmy,
minute.
and there we have it.
6
What a
seconds.
goal.
Tied at 4. Ready?
And you mentioned one of the rules is you can't score right off the draw.
You can't score within 2 seconds of the draw. If it's inside of 2 seconds, they don't count it.
A little sudden death action here
Yeah.
in Game 3 of the B final between Heather and Steve. What would you say going into overtime, Mark? What do you want to see more of in this game?
Goals. I think goals would be important, and I think the players would agree.
What's the celly going to be like to those who, to the person who wins? Big fist pump, maybe?
I think you give a congratulatory handshake, and then, probably a fist pump, maybe a sit down. Get yourself an iced tea,
Yep.
and think about how you're going to take the lead into Game 4.
Goal.
Oh, and there it is.
Overtime.
Ends it quickly. There's the handshake,
Wow.
and Heather's up 2-1.
It was like Sam Reinhart the other night. Awesome stuff. And again, the Peterborough Table Hockey Association, you can search them. They're available on Facebook. This has been the Capital PTBO Sports Show, an MNC podcast production. You can come visit us at the Capital PTBO at 370 George Street North or online at thecapitalptbo.ca. For Mark Million and producer Matty, I'm Jordan Mercier. We will talk again next week.